was totally normal. Like, she didn't even know.
Just.
And she didn't remember speaking in any weird way. She just thought that she was. My aunt was a super sane person. I have no reason to believe that she would ever lie to me about this. Something that makes this story a little weirder for me is that this is not the first story about a duende that family members have told me. So my mom's side of the family used to live in Hawaii when she was younger, when my uncle was 3 years old. One day he sort of just went missing for a few hours, and so everyone was looking for him. Hours later, he just showed up at the front door, and we're like, "Where did you go?" And he said, "Oh, I'm playing with the little people." So my family is pretty convinced that the people that he was playing with were duendes. So a few years ago, there was a pretty well-off family that lived in a really big house in Newport Beach, California. A mother, a father, and 2 small kids. And one night, the parents decided that they wanted to out for themselves, so they hired a babysitter. She was maybe about 16 years old, so when the babysitter got there, the parents gave her a little rundown of what to do, and off to the class. And once we finished tucking the kids in, "Do you mind watching TV in our bedroom?" The kids have been having nightmares lately and waking up screaming, and our room is
that's true.
and so it's a lot easier to get to them. Yeah, sure.
Land factories.
So after a few hours of watching TV, it was time for bed, and as she was tucking them in, one of the kids said, "Please don't let the clown get us." Of course I'm not going to let anything happen to you. So she turned off the lights and went next door to the parents' room like the mom had asked. But the second that she stepped inside, she froze. In the far corner of the room was a clown statue. Just a really lifelike, detailed, creepy ass statue. No wonder these kids have been having nightmares, she thought to herself. So she went and sat on the bed and started watching TV. Kept looking over at the It was way too creepy for her, so she decided to go downstairs to the living room and watch
So I got
TV
do like
until
10 health right now.
So she's watching some TV for a while, and then her phone rings. And it's the parents just checking in. "Hey, we're on our way home. Just wanted to check in and see how things are going." Everything's great. The kids are all asleep and in bed. I hope it's okay, but I decided to watch TV downstairs instead. Your statue was really freaking me out. I'm sorry, what statue? The clown statue in the room. It's really creepy, so I decided to leave the room. Wait, what? Now, you don't have a statue. Just then, she heard screams, she dropped the phone, and ran up the stairs. The bedroom seemed so much farther than it did before. She opened the door, and she was too late. So apparently there was a little person serial killer that would dress up as clowns and break into people's houses and murder people. 100% creepy and 100% true. So my cousin and her youngest sister, Genesis, who was maybe 3 at the time, were in their townhouse in Glendale. My older cousin were talking outside of the master bedroom, and Genesis was playing inside of the room, and out of nowhere, they hear Genesis start to scream. So my aunt and my cousin go inside the room to see what's wrong, and they see Genesis crying hysterically and grabbing books, toys, and pillows, and throwing them in this one corner of the room. And they asked her, "Genesis, what's wrong?" "Tell the little red girl I don't want to play with her." So my aunt and my cousin grab Genesis, and they get out of the house, and they head to McDonald's to get a Happy Meal so that they can calm her down. So when they got home, they remembered that Genesis made a huge mess in the room, so they went to go clean it up. But when they went inside the room, everything was already "We're leaving again," so they left the house again. So my aunt was telling her neighbor at the time about what had happened and what Genesis said she saw, and her neighbor told her that a little girl had actually died in that complex 15 years earlier. They moved out like 6 months later. I was maybe like 7 when my cousin told me that story, and I remember being like, yeah, I was actually talking to my cousin Genesis about this recently over the holidays, and she said that she actually used to play with that little girl a lot. So I guess that little girl like wasn't always scary to her. I guess maybe it was just that one time she just like didn't want to play with her. Because if my kid, seriously, if my kid started like talking to nobody, I'd be like, nope, I'm out. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Don't care.
Have you heard of the black-eyed children? It's not an early 2000s cover band consisting of infants. It's a phenomenon that's been increasing in popularity over the past few years. The basic story is always the same. You're in your house, and then in the middle of the night you hear a knock on your door. And if you open the door, you'll see two young children with completely black eyes. They'll ask if they can come in. And whatever you do, don't let them in. Whether they actually exist or not, this is the creepiest encounter I've found. This woman made the mistake of letting the black-eyed children in. This is what happened. So this woman and her husband live in a rural town in Vermont, sort of in the middle of nowhere. And one snowy night, they are awoken at 2 a.m. to a really loud banging on the door. So they open the door, and they see a young boy and a young girl, and they're definitely not appropriately dressed for the snow. They're avoiding eye contact and just staring at the ground. There was something really uneasy about these kids. And so they asked them, where are your parents? So this woman and her husband just looked at each other, and despite all of their instincts telling them not to, they decided to let the children in. So the woman went into the kitchen to make everyone some hot cocoa, and her husband went into the living room and was sitting there with the kids and trying to get more information out of them. And that's when she noticed her cat was acting really weird. Usually her cat is friendly and likes to approach any guest that comes to the house. But this time, he just hid underneath the kitchen table and was staring at the children and growling very lowly. So the woman took the hot cocoa and went into the living room, and she noticed that her husband had his head in his hands. I feel really dizzy. The woman went to hand the cocoa to the children, and that's when they looked up at her for the first time. Their eyes were completely black. No white, just black. Maybe in the restroom? And the kids left for the hallway. The woman turned to her husband and said, did you see their eyes? Her husband lifted his head up, and his nose was bleeding. Just then, the power went out. She couldn't help but think that the presence of these children had something to do with it. And so the woman stumbled her way over to the bathroom to see if she could get a tissue. And the two children were just standing there in the hallway. Our parents are here. She went to the front door, left it wide open, and the woman saw these two really tall men in dark suits standing at the edge of their driveway. The woman waved at them, but they didn't react at all and went in their car, and all four of them drove away. The power came back on about half an hour later, but not everything went back to normal. A few days later, 3 of their 4 cats went missing, and one night they came home to find their cat dead in a puddle of its own blood. Her husband continued to have nosebleeds, and when he went to the doctor, he was diagnosed with a very aggressive type of skin cancer, a type that's linked to overuse of indoor tanning beds, which he's never used. She also claims that she started getting nosebleeds and feeling really dizzy randomly, and even some unspeakable things that she refused to disclose in her story. So this is another story from my cousin, because she's the worst. She was about 16, and she was over at a friend's house for a slumber party. And her friend had a collection of really expensive porcelain dolls, like all along the shelves. She also had a Ouija board, and she really wanted to try it out that night. So if you don't know what a Ouija board is, it's basically a board with a bunch of letters and some words like yes or no. And there's a planchette, and so everyone who's playing places 2 fingers on the planchette lightly, and you ask the board a question, and supposedly, if there's any spirits around the room, spirits will use the planchette along with your fingers and spell out their answers to your question. So if you don't believe in spirits, there's actually a really scientific explanation to how these Ouija boards work. It's called the videomotor effect. If everybody is focused on the answer, everyone's fingers will start to don't think that you have anything to do with it. It feels like you're not moving it at all. So if you're using a Ouija board to talk to the spirit, supposedly you are opening a door to their dimension. And that's really, really, really important to always properly say goodbye to the dimension. Otherwise, you're just leaving the door wide open for whatever's done it. So I've seen plenty of videos debunking Ouija boards. I know all about the ideomotor effect. I know that there really isn't a reason I should be afraid, but I will never fuck with a Ouija board because of stories like this. So all the other girls at the party were totally down to play with the Ouija board, but not my cousin, and so she decided to just stand off in the corner and watch. So they lit some candles and they started asking questions. Is anybody here? Yes. Yeah. Are you a good spirit? No. So some of the girls are pretty convinced that somebody is controlling the chat. And so they asked my cousin, why don't you ask it something that no one here knows the answer to, and then you know, what animal am I thinking of? Turtle. And they all looked over at my cousin, and she was just wide-eyed and shocked. And that just made all the other girls even more excited. So they continued to play, and eventually we asked, where are you? Coll. Just then, all of the dolls, one by one, turned their heads to the right. And then they jumped off of the shelf, and the candles blew out. Everybody screamed and was scrambling to get out of that room in the darkness without properly ending the game. When my cousin was running out of the room, she swear felt a tiny little hand clawing at her foot. Obviously, none of the girls slept in that room that night. So
Sadly, Brayden, I can't really from the match.
Started tossing all of the dolls into the trash bag. And my cousin's friend's mom came over and was like, what are you doing? You love these dolls. Not anymore, Mom. Love can be a very scary thing. This is an old ghost story from Japan about sweet revenge. It was first told in the form of a kabuki play in 1825. There once was a man named Ian who was married to a loving and devoted wife named Oya. He was a Ronin, a samurai who no longer had a master because he had a murderous past. And now, he was a foreign Ronin maker. Since they were no longer financially stable, he grew to resent his wife. Then, his neighbor lured him into an evil scheme. My daughter Arume is in love with you. If only you weren't already married, you could be with her and be wealthy beyond belief. Ian was a garbage human, and so he liked the sound of that. And so he started plotting ways to kill his wife. He didn't want to be charged with murder, so he had to figure out a way to make it look like natural causes. He decided that he was going to poison her. So the next night, they sat at the dinner table together. Then, he offered her a spoon. It's medicine to help you get stronger, for you and our baby. She was a little hesitant, but poor Aaliyah was so trusting that she took the spoon and drank the poison. At first, nothing happened. But then, her hair began to fall out of her mouth. Her eyes drooped and began to fill with blood. She really pissed him off because he wanted her to die already. Days later, she awoke. She had almost forgotten what had happened. But then she went to the bathroom and saw what she had become. She had lost her beauty. Let's go on a walk. Your favorite place. So they walked to the edge of the cliff, overlooking the entire town. It really was a beautiful view. And while Aaliyah was trying to take it all in with her blood-filled eyes, he pushed her over the edge. Yemon arranged an elaborate funeral for Aaliyah to throw everybody off his scent. But now that she was out of the picture, he began to plan his wedding with his new bride. Now I'll be rich again and everything will be perfect, he thought. Yemon thought he had seen the last of Aaliyah. He could not have been more wrong. He began seeing Aaliyah's face everywhere. She appeared on a lantern, so he shattered it. She appeared in a mirror, shattered that too. But he wouldn't let Aaliyah ruin his new life with Olume. On the day of his wedding, Aaliyah had not appeared. The ceremony went perfect.
Shout out to Braden, Snapchat BLM1407X.
Everyone stared in horror as the head of a roommate rolled down the aisle. Ian couldn't believe what he had done. He ran outside, out to the edge of the cliff, and cried. The wedding attendants ran after him, just in time to see a woman pushing over the edge. Ring, the second follow-up to the horror film The Ring, came out earlier this month. And so I wanted to share with you the urban legend that inspired the original film. This is the story of the cursed videotape. So 3 high school girlfriends were having a sleepover and decided that they wanted to rent a horror film. This is back in the day when you actually had to leave your house, go to a physical store, pick out the tape you wanted, and return it in 3 days. But when they got to the store, it was already closed. But just as they were about to leave empty-handed, they noticed a small change wall door that none of them had noticed before. They decided to go in. So the girls are browsing through the shelves, but they can't come to an agreement on what to rent. So they go to the counter and decide to ask the lady working there, "Do you have any horror movies you could recommend us?" "I have just the thing," she said, and she went into the bathroom to get it. That's when one of the girls noticed there was no label, no box, and it was a little bit dirty. Curious.
Grab the launch pad and go to stash and we'll go upstairs see if there's any loot.
"That's not something you girls should be watching," she said. "Why? What's on it?" "It's just a home movie. Now let me go get you something that I know you will enjoy." After they checked out,
We're in here.
videotape out of the purse. "We have to watch it. Are you curious to see what's on it?" Once you get this, and just as she placed it into the VCR, the power went out. Next to the TV, on the screen was a woman tied to a stake and engulfed. She was surrounded by people yelling, "Burn the witch! Burn the witch!" Then the woman spoke. "All who witness my death will meet the same fate in 3 days." The tape started sputtering and the TV went black. The girls were terrified, sitting in the darkness, wondering what the hell they just saw. "We need to return this video now." They got into their car and it was gone. There was no video store, just a blown up old building. "Do you think it's real? Do you think we're really gonna die in 3 days?" None of the girls showed up at school the next day. They didn't leave their beds. They didn't get any sleep that night. The girls hadn't eaten or slept in the past 48 hours. One of them called the others up.
There's a Nick. Thank you.
All 3 of the girls were found dead, charred to a crisp. While investigating their mysterious deaths, police found a trash can outside of one of the girls' houses. It was smoking and looked like the contents had been lit on fire recently. When they looked inside, all they saw was a pile of ashes and the videotape. It's kind of funny to think how people were scared of VHS tapes, especially since nobody watches them anymore. But then again, in a way, you did watch the tape. I showed it to you. If I were you, I'd be careful this Friday. Has anything crazy happened? Let me know in the comments because I am super curious. Like this video if it gave you the chills, and don't forget to subscribe to Snarls and check out our other videos. Until next time,
Full health. I hit him once with a sniper. He's coming down.
I'm a telepathic bulldog. And I just read your mind. I agree. The beard looks good. We got to take care of it though, yeah?
Nice. I no-scoped him with a sniper, and then I hit him once with an AR.
I'm Sapphire.
I knew he was so low health. Surprisingly, a shotgun bullets with no ammo.
We live in the age of information. Answers to everything and anything are available to us in an instant. And yet, there are still so many things in this universe that cannot be explained. In these next few chapters, I'll be sharing the most puzzling, creepiest, unexplainable events that really happened, from unsolved crimes to common paranormal experiences. Our first story is about a young woman who checked into the Cecil Hotel and never checked out. The Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles has been around since 1927, and since its doors have opened, it has had a very dark history. At one point, it housed famed serial killer Richard Ramirez, who murdered his victims in his hotel room. There's also been numerous incidents of guests jumping out windows and other unsolved deaths, just like the one I'm about to tell you. In January 2004, a young woman named Elise flew to Los Angeles from Canada and checked into the Cecil Hotel. She was first placed in the hospital closet, which she shared with another guest. But after 2 days, the front desk got a call. Hi, I'm Elise. I'm sharing a room with and acting very odd. I'm still comfortable. Is there any way you can move her? So Elisa was moved to a room of her own, and that was the last time anyone saw her. During her trip, she kept in frequent touch with her parents back home. But when they didn't hear from her, they were supposed to be leaving Los Angeles. They became
people on top.
The LAPD. Around the same time, the front desk kept getting more complaints. The water pressure in the shower is so low. The tap water is so warm. So a hotel staff member went up on the roof to inspect the water tank. He noticed that one of them was open. He looked inside, and that's when he found Elisa floating in the tank. To this day, they're undetected.
Oh!
Theory.
You're right, Sean!
She had bipolar and depression, and was on prescription medication.
I literally threw a grenade up here and died.
She kept a blog where she wrote about her struggles with her illness and seemed to be very open about it. The most logical conclusion is that Elisa was off her medication, broke from reality, and drowned herself in the water tank. Another theory.
I did not expect that.
The elevator game is originated on a Korean website. When performed properly, you can supposedly be transported to another dimension. In order to play, you need a building that has at least 10 levels. It's best played at night because you need to be. You enter the elevator and you go to different floors in a particular order. Once you reach the 5th floor, a woman will get on with you. Whatever you do, don't look at her or speak to her. She isn't human. When you reach the 10th floor, you exit the elevator and enter a new dimension. You will still be in the hotel, but only you exist. Be careful. In this dimension, your cell phone won't work, and you may feel disoriented and even faint. If you wake up without our world, strange things may happen. So what does the elevator game have to do with Elisa Lam? After news spread of her bizarre death, a surveillance video from one of the hotel elevators went viral. It showed Elisa acting very oddly in the elevator, pressing random buttons, talking to seemingly nobody. Was she playing the elevator game? The Cecil Hotel has since rebranded itself to Stay on Main. They can change their sign, but they can never change what happens within its walls. This isn't real, this can't be happening. We all have horrific nightmares at some point in our lives. And just when it feels like there's no hope for you, you wake up safe in your bed. But what if waking up wasn't enough? What if the demon was still there? In the next chapter, I will be sharing a true experience that a friend of mine had. So Mike was attending law school and lived by himself in an apartment in Fullerton, California. Apparently one of the most haunted cities in Orange County. In the first few months of living there, he started seeing things and feeling things. When he watched TV, it felt like someone was watching him. When he'd walk into a room, he'd see someone standing there just before he turned the lights on to find the room empty. Living alone is probably just messing with him, he thought to himself. Then one Friday night, Mike was washing dishes in his kitchen when he suddenly got this very strong feeling that someone was I know. The reflection of the butter knife he was washing. It was his grandmother. She had died 5 years before. She looked incredibly concerned and was pointing towards the door. He turned around, but there was no one there. Creeped out, he decided to spend the weekend at a friend's place. When he came back home on Monday, he had forgotten about his grandmother's visit, and later that night, he had a terrible dream. face with this woman, whose face was completely covered in shadow, and yet he could still make out her black eyes. She kept pointing toward this old building and he wanted to follow her there, but he kept hearing his grandmother's voice in the back of his head.
Oh, he's on top of the loot.
Get out! So he started to back away from the crowd briefly. Then she lunged him, grabbing his wrist so tight that they stung like cold knives.
I had
The
him.
moment she touched him, Mike could sink up his heart was racing and his wrist. Before he could catch his breath, the shadow slowly appeared again. He didn't realize to himself. He threw her off of him and she slammed his house so hard that it moved out of place, along with some other furniture. Slowly, she stood back up, looked at him with her soulless eyes, winked, and began to vanish from her stomach outward. He fell back onto his bed. He lay there awake until the sun rose. Still in disbelief, he sat up and looked over at his living room furniture. Everything was still knocked out of place. It definitely was not a dream. He went to the church, got some blessed crosses, and placed them around his apartment. The woman never appeared again. To this day, he isn't sure what attacked him that night, but he knows that his grandma was trying to warn him. Who were the people they were talking to? Our whole lives, we've been taught to believe that time is a line, constantly moving forward and never looking back. But what if we're wrong? Just because science hasn't found a way to make time travel possible, doesn't mean nature hasn't. All over the world, there have been accounts of people experiencing time slips, the phenomenon where one is all of a sudden temporarily transported to another period of time. In this chapter, I'm going to share 2 real-life incidents of this bizarre occurrence. Old Street in Liverpool, England has become notorious for time slips. One theory is that the city is built on sandstone, which creates a strong magnetic field and can affect the human mind. Whether that's the case or not, something strange happened in July of 1996. Frank, an off-duty officer, was shopping with his wife in Liverpool. Frank ran into an old friend, and so he stopped to say hi to him, while his wife continued without him and headed towards Dylan's, a large bookstore. After they had a chat, Frank said hello and headed toward Dylan's on Gold Street. The store was right across the street from him when he noticed something was different. The sign now read, "Chris." That can't be right, he thought to himself. He took a step closer and jumped back just as the boxman raced past him. Frank was surprised by how old-fashioned it was. And that's when he noticed the people. Everyone was dressed as though it were the 1950s all over again. Did I walk into some sort of parade? Why is everyone dressed like this? He continued walking towards Dylan, or at least where he thought Dylan should be. When he got up to the store windows, he didn't see books like there should have been. Women's handbags and clothes. Frank began to feel confused. Did I go the wrong way? What is happening? Then he noticed a young woman wearing a black amidst all the posters and news, she looked extremely young. And that made him feel safer. She walked inside the store, and he decided to follow her. The moment he stepped inside the store, he was surrounded by books. They were in the store.
Jump off the edge and go to factory.
Did you see that? He asked. Yeah, I thought this was a new women's clothes store. Kind of big. And she left the store so he could ask her any questions. Frank's wife came over to him. Are you okay? Something really weird just happened. After doing some research, Frank learned that Chris was indeed a women's clothing store that existed in that exact location in the 1950s. He had no previous knowledge of that store, so if he was imagining things, that's a pretty big coincidence. There are countless stories of people having similar experiences, and I'll admit, I wasn't a believer until my friend told me what her grandmother and aunt experienced. They were on their way to Myrtle Beach. It was very authentically different, but they did find it a little peculiar that everyone around them was dressed in an older fashion. While they were filling up the tank, I had a conversation with them. They left the station and then they told their friends about the adorable process. So on the drive back, they were just about to point it out when they realized it wasn't there. Instead, it was just an old gas station that probably hadn't been operating for years. How could they have both imagined the same thing? How did they fill up their gas? Who were the people they were talking to? Be gone, Satan! Children can have pretty wild imaginations. So no one bats an eye when a kid starts playing with an imaginary friend of theirs. They'll tell you all about their exciting adventures, and you smile and nod and say, oh, that's great, honey. But sometimes, those stories can be oddly specific and detailed. What I'm about to tell you is a true story that happened to a family friend. Decades ago, a baby was born in a small village in the Philippines, 2 months earlier than she was expected. Because she was so small,
We're on top of the roof.
she named her Baby. Baby and her older cousin were very close. When Baby was about 4 years old, she would go off on her own a lot. Where were you? She was about 7 at the time. Playing with Ben, she would reply. Because they lived in a very small village up in the mountains, nearby. But she did find it very hard. So, what did you and Ben do? We went in this flying machine with a spinning top. It makes a lot of noise. We flew in the sky and went over the water. Sounds fun, her cousin replied. She had no idea what she was talking about. The next time Baby disappeared, it was for a longer period of time than the last. And where were you today? What's Ben? He has these clothes that you wear underwater so you can breathe and you don't get wet. I saw lots of pretty fish. Sounds fun. Again, she had no idea what she was talking about. Then one day, Baby and her cousin were walking down the street, and Baby pointed at a tree. That's Ben's house. He took me to visit his mom and dad. They have a really nice house. And they have this snake, and he can paint really pretty designs with his tongue on these plates. And that's when her cousin knew something wasn't right. See, some Catholics believe that the snake is a sign of the devil. And so she went to Baby's mom and told her all about Baby's story. They must be Encantos, Baby's mother said. Encantos are the enchanted ones, beings that only show themselves to people they like. Baby didn't have those gifts to use. This type of details that she was really told. So her people believed that she must be possessed by some sort of spirit. They decided that Baby needed to be taken to church to receive the rite of exorcism. Thanks to horror movies, exorcisms have been portrayed as rituals to expel demons that are possessing a human being. But they were also performed to protect an individual who might be susceptible to the devil. Be gone, Satan, inventor and master of all deceit, enemy of man's salvation.
I'm going crazy.
After the ritual, Baby no longer went missing for periods of time. When asked about her friend Ben, she had no idea what anyone was talking about. Did she grow out of a face? Or did the ritual actually remove something from her? Years later, when Baby's cousin was much older and was living in the U.S., she saw a National Geographic magazine for the first time. And that's when she saw the flying machine with a spin top and the clothes were being underwater. If you ask her today, Baby has absolutely no recollection of those adventures she went on, or her friends then, but her family sure does. So if Baby wasn't friends with an Encanto, how does she know about helicopters and wetsuits? Things she had never seen before. Who, or what, would have done such a thing? There are some creatures so powerful and malicious that even speaking about them will make you their target. That's why so little is known about the Skinwalkers, the legendary creatures of the Navajo Nation. Ye Naldushi, another name for the Skinwalkers, translates to he who walks on all fours. They are said to be witches who have gained the power to shapeshift. They will wear the skin of the animal they wish to take the form of, and once the transformation is complete, they will have the strength and powers of that animal. But this isn't done just for the fun of it. The intent of the Skinwalkers is pure evil. They can use mind control on the victims to make them hurt others and themselves. One of their
Alright, you wanna use the rift to
murder
go
a family member. It is
here?
also said that if you make eye contact with a skinwalker, it will absorb your soul and steal your body.
Yeah?
This may seem
Jump
like
into the ice
another
project
urban
now.
legend, but to the Navajo, it is very real. In 1878, people were purged by tribe members who accused them of practicing malevolent witchcraft. And then, there is the curious case of Sarah Sagalito. In June of 1987, Sarah was working the night shift at the Flagstaff Medical Center in Arizona. It was her first time working the late shift, and her family became worried when she didn't come home. They went to the medical center the following morning, and that's when they found the body of a woman whose face was so bruised she was almost unrecognizable. But they knew that it was Sarah. Her torso had numerous stab wounds, and her left breast appeared to have been bitten off. There was also a broken stick, oddly left on her neck, as well as a clump of grass from a graveyard in the distance found near her car. Who, or what, would have done such a thing? The police believed it was George Abbey, former professor at Northern Arizona University. He had apparently been telling his friends about strange dreams he was having, where he was witnessing Sarah's murder. I was receiving prophecies from God, he said. But his defense lawyer had another theory. That broken stick, the clump of grass, this is the work of a skinwalker. Nobody was buying this defense, and George was found guilty. However, a year later, his case was reopened by Sarah's family. They believed he was truly innocent, and George was acquitted.
I got my challenge done.
He apparently even became a close family friend to the Sagamitos. So did George take advantage of the Navajo's belief in the skinwalkers to get away with murder? Or was he in fact innocent? Until there is definitive proof, I guess this will just be another event. Do you believe
Where's my
skinwalkers
shots
are
of
real?
trash?
Let me know in the comments. So be careful, you might be drawing their attention to you. Like this video if it gave you the chills, and don't forget to subscribe to Snarls and check out our other videos. Until next time, sweet dreams.
Next let's land Haunted Hills.
Hey, I'm Sapphire. There's no place like home, especially if it's haunted. In this next volume, I'll be telling tales of homes that might have a few too many residents. These stories are all about old houses with sinister histories and spirits that just aren't ready to move out yet. For the first chapter, I will be telling you the story that my mother told me. When my mom was about 11 years old, her 3 siblings, and their parents moved to America from the Philippines. My grandma was friends with a woman named Francine, who lived in Hawaii with her husband, Decoy. She told them they could stay at their house until they got settled in. It was a fairly small house. There was one master bedroom with Francine and Decoy's son, one other bedroom for their mom and their stay, and a living room area. My mom had many fond memories of living in the house, like learning how to ride a bike and playing by the way bike train. But it also had many things. For instance, Francine was utilizing the psychiatric institution that was right next door to the house. And my mom remembers seeing some patients running outside and giggling. Although surprising at first, her and her siblings got used to it. And then they could explain away what happened on the night of his ex-wife's death anniversary. So Decoy was a multi-crusader, a member of the Filipino Crusaders World Army, which was a cult started by the politician and mystic Mario Camino Zamora. His followers believed that prophet with supernatural powers. He claimed that he had the ability to heal the sick. They also fought Lisa because of their long hair and beard, as it was against their beliefs and practices. My mother remembers Decoy being very strong for his age. Perhaps that was due to the skeleton he kept underneath his bed, which according to the Mojavistas, the bones of the deceased would give you strength. I heard that the skeleton under his bed had life, some people said. But my mom never saw the skeleton. Decoy kept the master bedroom locked at all times, with a giant padlock on the outside. What was he trying to keep out? Or in? One night, my parents stuck out to leave the kids in the house by themselves. It was the death anniversary of his ex-wife, and they were going to do a celebration in her honor. The kids were a little scared to be left alone. My granddaughter left the little dog with them. Don't worry, he'll protect you, she said, jokingly. So my grandparents drove away, and my mom and her siblings were left alone. They were watching TV when all of a sudden a chill shot up my mom's spine. The TV went white, and the house
Cool. I have another slurp for you.
the door to the
I'm talking about it.
began shaking violently. I don't know. It looked like someone was trying to get out. It's people that fight. They screamed and ran out of the house, right when the parents were fleeing to the driveway. The kids were flying and trying to tell them what happened. Decoy's granddaughter tried to calm them down and went inside the house to get her dog. She didn't come back out for a minute, but when she did, she was in tears. She was my grandmother. If it was truly Decoy's ex-wife in that house that night, what did she want? What was she trying to say? This is a true story from a friend of mine who spent 3 months living in a haunted house. When Lauren was 4 years old, Virginia, they bought a nice plot of land where they planned to build their house. It was going to be a while before they would be able to move in, and so they looked around for a house they could live in temporarily. They needed to find a place fast, and so they were excited to find one that was incredibly cheap. They pulled up to a large house in a cold dark road on Kenwood Place. The front yard had a tree from which original
I know.
the rest of
Come on.
The realtor said, shoving the contract in front of them. They barely had a chance to look at the entire house. The Lauren's parents were so desperate to find a place that they weren't even thinking about how distant the realtor was. It was a really good deal, Lauren's mom said, and it'll only be temporary. Yeah, we'll take it.
Sorry. Slamming your remote ain't gonna help it. I would love a double barrel right now. Wait, campfire give you shield now? Oh no, that's my slurp. Never mind. I thought campfires give you shield now, but it was actually just my slurp before. Top of the building. Oh. You wanna go play H1? This game is actually getting really annoying.